What's going on, guys? Bexio back, and today we got a brand new video. Is the bear market coming for Bitcoin? Is the price all over? No, I don't think so. And we're going to look at some charts that are showing why that's most likely not the case, as well as just short-term stuff. Like, people change all the time, and things that I've seen that are interesting with the shorts data. But we'll start looking at the chart here, right here. Obviously, this is the daily chart for Bitcoin. We saw it rifle up and then hit this pretty good resistance here, 42,497, just about there, and get rejected here. And on a little downtrend, but people still got to remember Bitcoin was about 30K before this huge rally started. So wherever these levels are is still much higher than when people were screaming very bearish stuff. But now it looks like we're getting much more support around 37,000, 38,000, and we could build up this area here for a little bit, and I wouldn't even mind. But obviously, the market coming down, having a little correction after a huge run up is completely normal. It's healthy. It would be very bad if Bitcoin just went straight up, because then its chance of coming straight back down is a lot higher. But we can look at the shorts data here, and I looked at this last night actually, and these shorts were over 2,000, so they're already down up 5%, and the longs are coming back up, still not as high as they were before at that around 52, 53,000. But what I would think from this, looking at the shorts data and stuff, seeing that shorts aren't going up rapidly or, trying to find higher levels, and they're actually still coming down, just makes me think that people aren't so set on the price of Bitcoin coming down much further. Even from 38K, people might not think that Bitcoin's going back to 30K in the short term here. Which is a good sign. Obviously, that's bullish for Bitcoin short term and all of that, and for the price action. But for the shorts, it looks like maybe the market isn't as ready to short Bitcoin and think that the price is going lower. And then we've got some charts here like this one, talking about, the Bitcoin cycles and bull markets and the end of bull markets. And this is comparing Bitcoin to the stock to flow model, saying like if it's overvalued, undervalued compared to the stock to flow model. And right now you can see this was the first run up, the first big exposure to Bitcoin, a huge top here. I mean, severely overpriced in terms of the stock to flow. We saw this again in 2013, where it spiked up twice actually, which is what people are thinking. The price action, and even comparing 2013, it's not as comparable with, let me turn this stuff off, with 2020 right here, because obviously, this was way overvalued, got to be overvalued a lot to come back down to make another peak, and stayed in that overvalued until the bear market, obviously. But Bitcoin barely peaked over the overvalued part, and didn't really have this like huge run up for a double peak. So the price looks similar, but the value of Bitcoin compared to stock to flow isn't very similar. So 2013 and 2017, both obviously running up parabolic into overvalued territory before coming back down, and Bitcoin just hasn't done that now. And a big thing that I think this kind of shows us for Bitcoin is, one, that Bitcoin's maturing as an asset, and obviously as the price goes, the parabolic moves up and down are going to go down substantially over time. But this also shows that the Bitcoin super cycle might be in effect here, where we don't necessarily see a blow off to $1 million like super cycle. There's different ways to think of a super cycle, and one way is that blow off top happens and then you come back down, but not as hard. Or there's not a blow off top, but instead Bitcoin kind of goes up nicely, and not seeing a bear market, or not seeing like an 80% correction for a bear market where you break the cycle. And that's something I think that could easily happen with Bitcoin, is the cycle gets broken and bear markets start to not be as severe and not be 80% drawdowns. Maybe you get like a 20%, 30%, 50% like we had. And I wouldn't say it's a bear market, it's like more of a correction. But the bear market, when it comes, if it comes, That's the big question. And from what we're seeing, we might not see a bear market. And that could be a super cycle too, where Bitcoin just continues tracking along up slowly and don't see a huge drop for a bear market. And then another chart we got is the Puell multiple. This here obviously talks about Bitcoin, bull markets and stuff. This is that chart. And you can still see this red shade is like overvalued Puell multiple, and the green shade is undervalued. So 2013 we got into this red overvalued. 2017, 2018 got into this red value, got to overvalued, and 2020 we didn't even come close to that value yet. And it's something that I think, the price didn't go parabolic. The super cycle theory of a lessening bear market starts to become more and more likely the more of these signs that we see. I think that these point towards that, looking towards the next few years to the next halving, where we could get another parabolic run like we saw for like this line here, kind of. But instead of going through a parabolic run up and a collapsed bear market waiting for that halving, we could just have an easygoing like few years where it continues to trickle up, has corrections along the way like any market would, but doesn't have a bear market. As well as we have these right here, negative yielding global debt. So these are bonds, and they're at $16.5 trillion is negative yielding. And what that means is the money you put in, you might get 1%, but if inflation is more than that, then you're negative yielding. If it's 2%, you've actually lost 1%, or they could straight up be negative rates. And I don't know why people get that, but some people do. But the real negative yield would be if someone gives you a 2% bond, but inflation's 4%, you lost 2%, you didn't make 2%. So even taking this $16.5 trillion, we can look at that because that's a perfect market for Bitcoin. Obviously, negative yield means you're losing money. Those are investors. They want to make money. So if you said $16.5 trillion came into Bitcoin, and we'll divide this by like 19.5 million, because 21 million is not going to be reached anytime soon. And that would give each Bitcoin $846,000 per Bitcoin. So that's just another huge market where that money is literally losing money. The people who are investing in that are just burning money, and they more than likely will come over to a newer asset or to something that is going to actually give them a return, and that is easily Bitcoin. So just that market, $846,000, that alone can get us close to the $1 million Bitcoin. And then put on top of that companies investing their treasury into Bitcoin. Even like 1% gets Bitcoin to 500K without this. So $1 million Bitcoin in the future, not today, not tomorrow, not in even a couple years, but in the future, is definitely something I think people are sleeping on. That if you're in Bitcoin now and you're not thinking about how Bitcoin can actually change the world and reach these huge numbers, to the point where you don't even have to worry about exchanging Bitcoin for dollars, you can just use your Bitcoin to buy things, then you might not be really looking towards the end goal and what Bitcoin really is. And then that's how you make the most amount of money too with Bitcoin, is just buy and hold. That's been proven to be the best. These traders have been out traded by people who just held, and whales have been out earned by people who just held Bitcoin. And then finally, we got the hash rate here continues to recover. Obviously, there's big collapse, but we hit the bottom here, it looks like, and we're seeing a nice move up and continue to recover. We saw news yesterday about miners. Marathon Group buying more miners. These miners are getting set up in the US, Canada, anywhere in North America, really. Kazakhstan's being set up a lot. So we're seeing a lot of places get it. That's great for Bitcoin, bullish for Bitcoin, and making the mining network decentralized. So China FUD out the window, another FUD point taken care of. And the future of Bitcoin, obviously, looks great fundamentally. But guys, that's gonna do it for this video. The Bitcoin bull market doesn't seem to be over, and the bear market, from what these charts are saying and things, maybe won't even come. We could only hope for that. But As always, guys, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. See you guys in my next video.